I don't know if it's because you got the beard now and we're talking about AI, but you seem like a fucking mad scientist right now when you say, once the robots come.
That keeps me up. They're already here. They're already here.
Once the robots come.
I just drove by a Waymo on the way in.
No, I get it. It's just a fucking odd conversation, but I'm so interested.
If you're not investing in AI right now and you're not paying attention, by the time you do pay attention, you'll be out of business. People have no idea how fast it's happening. Like, we're not talking about 5 years, 10 years. We're talking about 12 to 24 months before like entire industries are wiped out. Like, I'll give you an example.
All right, welcome everybody to the You Are Not Normal podcast with TONYMONT. I got a very special guest again here in Eric Klein's studio. Actually, we're in Eric's studio because I'm in the office today. But this guest, I will say, played an integral role in me blowing up in the wholesale space, dispositions in particular. It was probably late 2021 when I got a call from this gentleman out of the blue who said, hey, where did you come from and how are you guys doing 6 figures a month when nobody's heard of you in the wholesale space? And then got us onto cartel level of Investorlift, and the rest is history. So my guest today is Mr. Robert Wensley.
Thanks for having me on,
Tony. Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks for moving to Scottsdale.
Oh, dude, I've been wanting to be here for years, dude.
I know.
Every day I was in North
I gave Eric
Carolina.
that final push. He was sitting on my couch. I'm like, what do you want to do next year? You told me what you wanted to do. I'm like, you got to get the hell out of North Carolina. You got to be here. If you want to do what you want to do, like your vision of what you want to build, you got to be in Scottsdale.
100%. It's such great advice. And
2 days later, you bought a house.
I was telling him that for years. Him and Shy, I was begging them to. I was trying to get them to come here originally before we moved to Raleigh, because I was in San Diego and I didn't want to move to Raleigh. But it took the push from you, and then they came back after that trip, and they're like, or Eric came to me and he goes, I think Shiloh's going to say yes. He goes, Robert kind of sold us on it, and it just started making sense on this trip. And I was like, thank God for Robert. Let's
ABC,
go.
always be closing. Scottsdale, Arizona, you can send me a referral check for the tax revenue that I'm bringing in.
Dude, and every single time we have a boot camp event, our community comes out here once a quarter. Every single time we have an event, there's a percentage of those people that end up moving here within 30 days.
Wow.
Every single time.
Domino effect.
It's a domino effect. Dude, that's the first question I'll ask you. Why do you think Scottsdale, Arizona?
So what's interesting about this city, if you look at like all the prop tech companies, they're all in the city. Open Door, OfferPad, like Zillow, Redfin, they all have headquarters here. This city has been phenomenally well managed. Like, there's a 100-year water plan for this city. We got right across the street here, $65 billion semiconductor manufacturing plant that just finished construction. They just committed another $100 billion. As soon as the permit was signed, all the bulldozers were ready. And like immediately after the signature, they were like already breaking ground.
Yeah, it's
within
crazy.
minutes. Like people know how to move here. But because the city's well managed, it's doubled in population every single decade since the 1940s. 40s to 50s doubled. 50s to 60s doubled. Every decade, they double the population of the city.
And I think a lot of that, too, was like during COVID and all the bullshit that was going on in California.
We stole California.
Stole all the rich people from California,
The rich,
too.
smart ones.
Isn't there more millionaires or billionaires
more
in Scottsdale?
millionaires per capita in Scottsdale, I think, like any other city.
And
1 in 10.
And it's clean.
Super
like, dude,
clean.
I lived in San Diego for 13 years, dude. You go anywhere in San Diego besides like 1% of San Diego, and you're going to see homeless people, heroin needles, trash. Yeah. It's filthy. There's spray paint on every highway sign. It's like, what is going on here? Why am I paying so much for real estate and taxes out here? At some point it breaks, and I think it was COVID for that, where it was like everybody just kind of woke up, the smart ones like you said, and was like, Scottsdale's just a little bit east here. Let's get the hell out of here.
I was living in
you were.
I was in LA during when COVID hit.
It was a nightmare.
As soon as my lease was up, I'm like, I'm getting the hell out of here. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. The other thing that's cool for real estate investing about Arizona is the housing inventory. A lot of it is really new. So a lot of the houses were, because it's doubling, the majority of the housing inventory is built after 1980. And we do a lot of these like track house developments where like if you want to comp it, like how easy is it to comp here versus on the East Coast?
Yeah, and it's all a grid and it's all easy.
There's no basements.
Right.
It's all single floor. We don't worry about tornadoes and hurricanes and forest fires. Like it is the best real estate investing market in the United States, period.
Yeah, we had Zach Keeps on a couple weeks ago.
Legend.
On the podcast.
11 out of 10 podcast host. Guys, if you're not watching the 11 out of 10 podcast on YouTube, go check it out.
We'll put the link in the description. And look at my episode on there. That one was phenomenal, really good. That one did really, really well, dude. Everybody saw that thing. It was like, I was getting so many text messages after that podcast. And then I looked at it like a week later and it was at like 3,000 views and it started climbing. I'm like, damn, people like that one. It was. We had such good chemistry, me, you, and Zach. It was just an easy one to do.
Yeah.
But great podcast. So what I wanted to talk about with you today, though, because it's been kind of a subject we've talked about the last 2 times I've seen you, is like AI.
Yeah.
And probably because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And you're one of those people in my life where, you know, most people I know are just kind of knuckle dragging sales dudes and, you know, blue collared guys. But you're somebody where I can have like an intelligent conversation about stuff I don't know, and you have like real answers. You're not giving me like bro science.
No, we're actually doing this shit.
You're actually doing it. So I'm so interested in it, even though like I'm not that type of person with technology and stuff.
You don't need to be.
Yeah, but AI, like, it's such a topic right now, and Chat GPT and AI and how it's, you know, taking over texting platforms and sales calls now we hear, and like there's people I know that are using AI to fully run their comps on their deals for wholesaling. We use Chat GPT on every single listing or every single marketing we do, every single text message, email we send out, we use it. There's a friend of ours that uses AI for his content now, where it's not even him on there. It's just an AI version of him. Yeah. And he was telling me, he's like, dude, in the next 2-3 years, he's like, I won't have anybody really on my staff because it's all going to be AI text, AI call, AI everything, and my content's all going to be AI.
Yeah, if you're not investing in AI right now and you're not paying attention, by the time you do pay attention, you'll be out of business.
Yeah.
Like, people have no idea how fast it's happening. Like, we're not talking about 5 years, 10 years. We're talking about 12 to 24 months before like entire industries are wiped out.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you an example. Software engineering. That's the one thing that I spend more money on than anything else. Right? Like, software engineers are really expensive. Mm-hmm. You want to get a good software engineer, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. You want to get a data scientist, guys are making $1 million a year right out of college. Job postings for software engineers are down 70% since this time last year.
Because AI is doing all of it.
Well, engineers are just way more efficient. All my engineers right now are engineering with AI. Our throughput, the amount of code we're able to generate, has gone up phenomenally. We're moving 10 times faster than we've ever moved before. And we're just getting way more throughput with the existing team. So the amount of, like, you know, you think about like, oh, well, there's certain industries that are like insulated, like teachers. No. Like, if you're a teacher, I'm sorry. Like, my son, he's 7 months old. He's probably not going to have real school teachers.
No.
You'll have an AI assistant that knows how you learn, knows what you know, knows what things you've mastered. All educations can be done by AI soon.
Yeah, there's almost no industry that it won't take over. And that's like the snowball effect that I have with in these conversations with people talking about AI, because we start talking about, well, what is it going to take over first? And then you start thinking, well, okay, if it's taken over posting on Instagram, now it's going to take over your avatar on Instagram, and now it's going to do the follow-up text in your DMs to sell a product. It's going to sell the product for you. It's going to call the client. It's going to, it just keeps going. And it's like, even with the software engineers, like, okay, like maybe a bunch of people aren't working under them anymore, but eventually isn't going to even take the software engineer at the top away if they keep making it good, right? Doesn't it eventually just take over? When does it stop?
It eventually will take over everything.
Yeah.
Almost everything, except for the stuff that needs a human touch.
Which is what though?
For
Doctor,
example,
like
super high ticket sales. No, doctors are going to get wiped out.
Yeah, because surgery is all being done by robots and everything now too.
Yeah.
So what industry will? This is like a doomsday podcast. We're gonna tell everybody how to build a bunker. Yeah.
Anything that's repetitive will be replaced by AI.
Yeah.
So if it's a repetitive task, so like buying and selling houses is a pretty repetitive task.
Mm-hmm.
Like all buying and selling of houses is going to be done with AI within a few years.
Yeah.
We already have prototypes out there that are talking to sellers and buying houses.
Yeah.
Because what we're trying to do is train AI agents that we can sell to our customers that will initially just enhance your sales team.
Right.
Like they'll do the pre-qualification, they'll do call setting, they'll do things like that for you. We're doing it on acquisitions first because on acquisitions, it's easier to get training data sets. Like I can go call up one of my buddies that has a call center and be like, hey, can you give me 1 million calls to train on?
Yeah.
That's easy to get a data set. No one has that data set yet on Dispo.
Right. Well, and because like acquisitions, it's kind of the same structure of a call every single time because you're using the same script every single time. And Dispo, yeah, you use a script, but it's not as structured of a conversation either.
Yeah.
And there's just more recordings of acquisitions and
Yeah.
more talk time and more structured conversation.
By the way, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I'm going to have an AI that's going to call my motivated sellers, don't do it yet. Like
it's
like,
still a little clunky.
It's clunky. Like I have the best engineers in the world and we're at like 1.5x return on ad spend.
Yeah.
Which really is operating at a loss. Usually you need about 3x
Sure.
to be net profitable. But my whole thing is if we get started on it now, is these guys build up their models on future updates, we'll have a breakthrough moment where all of a sudden it's way better than human.
Yeah. So again, what industry will not get taken over by AI?
All industries are going to be severely disrupted.
Yeah.
The first thing will be AI agents. We're now in the AI agent era. Like a year ago, we're like, oh, in the next few years, there's going to be AI agents. Now there's AI agents. Like I have an AI agent order me dinner right now, and it has my credit card on file, and like all of a sudden, like dinner will show up, and I don't have to do anything, you know. So we're in the agent era. If you're not playing around with AI agents, you should. There's a really cool platform called N, like the letter N, and then 8N. It's kind of like Zapier, but for connecting different AI agents to building workflows in your business. My brother is spending like half his time right now just building AI agents to like automate different parts of our business. But in the real estate wholesaling space, you know, when I built Investorlift, my plan was always to build an AI. I looked at the growth curves of like how fast AI was getting adopted.
And what year was that when you started?
We started building it as an internal tool back in 2019.
Okay. So what was AI at that point?
It was like way too expensive. Like you had to have $1 million a year engineer and to like train the data sets would cost millions of dollars. Like, but then like the real breakthrough was actually with NVIDIA's new GPUs. They're way more powerful and they can just process way more data. So, but if you notice, Investorlift is basically a giant data mining machine.
Sure.
So I knew that like, okay, the GPUs and stuff are going to get more powerful. We'll eventually be able to train these models. So we started mining every click and every interaction on Investorlift day one. Like we never put a single customer on it until we were tracking every single buyer interaction. I'm like, we have to track the user data.
Yeah. So there's billions and billions of data sets on there.
We're spinning off like billions of data points per month now.
That's crazy. And then how valuable is that data?
Insanely valuable because now we're not like using ChatGPT to do the Investorlift AI. We're building ground up neural networks where you're not coding them. You're just feeding all the data into a deep learning model. You're telling the deep learning model, figure it out. Here's my inputs. Here's my desired outcome. And you have to have like a feedback loop. Like how these neural networks work is like, I showed a picture of a cat and I say, what is this? And it says, it's a dog. I give it -1. So it's like negative reward function. It guesses again. It's an elephant, -1. Oh, it's a cat. Okay, +1. Okay, cool. You do that enough times, now it knows what a cat looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you just got to feed it massive amounts of data.
Right. And then you're feeding it 1 billion cats a month, all different shapes and sizes. It's going to just learn so fast.
Yeah, you know, like the Google CAPTCHAs where it's like, click all the bicycles.
Yes.
That's Google training their neural networks.
Yes.
They crowdsource it across the entire world.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'll tell you how it's impacting dispositions, specifically at Investorlift. We finally got our deep learning model done like last fall, and I was the only one that had it. I was just messing around on Dispo Live, and I was like slinging deals in like under 2-3 hours. By December, I was like, this is pretty good. Let's roll it out in January. We brought on a few companies. I think I gave you guys access to it and a few teams access to it in December, and they were just like crushing it. So December, we generated about $500 million in offers. We rolled it out to all clients January. The first month, it increased average assignment fees by $3,000 on average. Guys that use it versus don't use it.
Because it's finding your specific buyer and marketing specifically to them.
Yeah, we went from sending 14,000 emails to generate one offer through the system to 180.
Right.
Insane.
It's insane.
Like, it just blew everything out.
It is way more efficient. Like, having used it, it's like so much more targeted. You're getting so much more quality responses because it's just targeting. It's just efficient, which is should be everybody's goal in every business, right?
Yeah.
And it's like in Dispo, you know, in the past, it's always been like, we got to throw the biggest net out there because, you know, it just, it's a lot of work.
You just need one buyer. You don't need 1,000 buyers. You just need that one buyer.
You just need that one. And it usually takes so much work to find that one buyer if you're in a new market, or your 1 or 2 buyers usually sell your deals who don't want this deal. It's like, shit, that's where people come to me a lot. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, well, like, this is how you do it step by step. But Investorlift takes a lot of that work out by taking all the data that you guys mine basically and have an AI, and it says, hey, in this specific market, in this deal, like, this is going to be your buyer, your 180 buyers that you need to send this to that have the highest % of offering on it.
Yeah, and that results in higher offers. Like, we did a $3,000 boost the first month. Now we're up over $6,000 boost because it gets smarter every night. We did $500 million in offers in the month before we launched it. Last month we did 1.8 billion. This month we'll be at probably 2.5 billion.
Yeah.
So like we 5x the power of Investorlift just in a few months.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep on getting smarter. Like, can you imagine where it's going to be a year from now?
It's going to be insane. But it makes so much sense why the offers are higher, though, because it's like, if somebody came to me with, I'm just going to use an example, not that I'm talking shit, but if somebody came to me with like the shoes you're wearing and said like, hey, do you want to buy these? They're not on the market.
These are my pickleball shoes.
But I'm not talking shit. But like, if somebody came to me with those, they'd say, hey, like, there's a really, I'd be like, hey, I'll give you $20 for them as long as, you know, they're in decent shape. But if they came to me with like,
you have no idea how expensive these are.
Yeah. But
it's the lightest shoe in the world.
But I'm saying for my value in it, right?
You have no value.
Yeah, they could be worth $1 million.
For instance, you know how I found these? I did ChatGPT. What is the best court shoe in the world? And it's like, this shoe is the #1 most lightweight shoe in the world. It only weighs like so many ounces. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh, I gotta have that.
I'm such a good pickleball
for you
player.
it's worth $20, but like I wanted to beat my buddy David at pickleball. I'm like, $400. Take I don't know how much I don't remember, but like.
But like that's the point, right? Like you find extreme value in those where I don't play a lot of pickleball and I walk around an office mostly and go to the gym, and I'd say I'll give you $20 for those. But if somebody brought me the shoes I'm wearing, I'd be like, oh, I love those shoes. I love Adidas. They're lightweight. They're comfortable. I can do whatever in them. I'll give you $100 for those. And it's the same with the buyers. And that's what people don't get when they're getting these lowball offers on their deals. It's like you're not getting it in front of the right buyer.
Yeah.
Like they're giving you a lowball offer because they'll take the deal at a steal. So they're throwing an offer out there, but that doesn't mean you have a bad deal necessarily. Yeah. It doesn't mean you've priced it wrong necessarily. It just means you haven't marketed it to the right buyer.
Yeah.
And people, that's why I tell everybody, like, if you're getting low ball offers, like make sure your numbers are right, of course. But if you've ran your numbers right and you're getting low ball offers, like make sure you're getting 3 to 5 offers before you take less than what you think it should sell for.
100%.
And then like with using AI, it's targeting those specific buyers that want that deal, that are going to offer now $6,000 more on it than somebody that's just window shopping and throwing a number out there, right?
Yeah, the crazy thing is, like, because it's a deep neural network and we're not necessarily coding things in, it's starting to figure things out that I never imagined it would figure out.
Is it learning anything that you didn't even think of?
Yeah, stuff we didn't even think of. Like, for example, we haven't coded it up to work on land, and there's like not a lot of land that gets posted on Investorlift. We probably have like a few 100,000 land buyers versus we have 6 million like buyers in total. And then we're pumping almost 10,000 properties per month right now. And maybe there's like, I don't know, a few hundred that are land deals. But like one of my buddies down in Florida, I gave him the AI. He's like, does this work on land? I'm like, probably not, but you can try it. He calls me back like an hour later. He's like, bro, I just AI blasted the land deal. First buyer that came in bought it. I'm like, all right, it's probably a fluke. I'm like, but try it again and like let me know if it works on a large deal. So he calls me back like 2 days later. He's like, Robert, I have bad news for you. I'm like, let me guess. You did a land deal and it didn't work. And he's like, yeah, unfortunately, I pushed out a land deal and I didn't sell on one phone call. I'm like, yeah, it was probably just a fluke. He's like, but I did do 20 calls and I sold it sight unseen in like 20 phone calls. Like, this is
Which is
insane.
still great, yeah.
Or like yesterday, I was on a call with a guy and the guy was about to cut this deal loose. It was in North Carolina. It was out in the boondocks. 12-acre property. 12 acres up in the mountains. Like, who's the buyer for that?
Yeah.
They're about to cut it loose. And I'm like, well, let's just plug it into the AI, see what happens. We call the first buyer. And this guy was not geotagged for this area at all. He was like a Texas buyer, like completely different state. So like normally we would have never messaged this guy. But they picked up that he was shopping for properties in this area. He's like, oh, you buy in this area? He's like, no, but my parents live in that area. And I am interested in buying like a homestead.
Damn. So that's who bought it.
And they're like, oh, really? Well, we have a 12-acre property. Are you interested? He's like, that would be phenomenal. We sent it over to him. Like, would you like to go see it Friday? He's like, I'll see it Friday, but can you send me the contract now just with a 48-hour contingency? I want to make sure that no one else gets this deal. And then obviously that customer is so mind blown on the demo. Today he signed up. We do Dispo Live once a week where I sell deals live. He jumped on the call today and I was telling the story. And he's like, oh, I'm on the call. The buyer just bought it. I'm like, what? So I pull him up. He's like, yeah, we got EMD wired today. The guy bought it.
That's insane. So
12-acre property up in the mountains. How do you find a buyer for that? The AI figured it out.
But only because he was buying a homestead. So does AI know this guy's profile, and are they following this dude shopping for a homestead? Like, how did it know that?
We don't even know how it knows it. That's the crazy thing.
That's the beautiful thing about it.
It's already getting to the point where we don't understand how it's working. And now, right now, it's only looking at the data on Investorlift. Shopping behavior, time spent,
so it must,
interactions.
so like on this, because I'm interested. So
Yeah.
this guy, if it's not following him on any other platforms, right, or any other software, so that would we could assume he was on Investorlift looking for homesteads in that area, right? Maybe he was clicking around in North Carolina
Probably looking
at
for
bigger
stuff with
properties.
big lots.
Yeah, that is wild.
Isn't that insane?
Yes.
Now, here's where like people have no idea what's about to hit. We just finished connecting all the tax record data to the user profiles in Arizona. So right now it's just training on the Investorlift data. All the data of everything that everyone's done offline for Arizona, we're going to prototype this in Arizona first and roll it out nationwide. Next week is getting joined. And then the AI in Arizona is not going to just look at what you're shopping for on Investorlift. It's going to know every deal you've done for the last 10 years on or off of Investorlift. And all of that history is going to train.
So it's going to know, I mean, When you look at AI at that scale, right? Like this is where it gets like crazy mind-blowing to me is like when you look at it at that scale where you can feed it that much information and it instantly knows like who your best buyers are for this deal, right? Like how much manpower would it take to do that?
We're already getting to the point where we're selling properties. Like I'm typically selling properties in less than 20 phone calls.
Right.
I want to get to the point where it just takes one phone call.
One phone call, it sells a deal.
Press button, sell deal.
This is your best buyer.
Now to do that, that's only going to work if the deal's priced right.
Sure.
So that's the next thing that
It's
we're
not
working on.
magic, right?
Yeah, we just finished building some algos to like let you know what the real ARV is. And I think when we roll that out, you're going to find that it kicks any underwriter's ass.
Yeah.
It might not right out the gate,
Sure.
but within a few months, it's going to be the number one underwriter in the country.
That's where I think the huge value comes in. Because, dude, we obviously coach a lot of people getting started in wholesaling, and their number one thing they struggle with or they're scared of is running numbers on a deal.
Yeah.
Where it's like me and you can look at a deal for 2 minutes and know the numbers on it because we've done it a million times. We have AI for running comps in our heads. But, like, dude, people struggle with that. And it's like a fear because they don't want to lock stuff up too high or too low. They, all this stuff. That's a huge unknown for people getting started, dude. And we're just talking about wholesaling, dude. How many realtors have no clue what properties are worth? They're worse than anybody, right?
Now imagine this: if you know what the ARV is, to get your price right, the next thing you got to figure out is what's the scope of work.
Yeah.
But we're already getting really good at doing image analysis, where we look at an image and we can tell, like, we can show a picture of 10 different kitchens, and it can give us, like, hey, this is a 1 out of 10 condition, this is a 10 out of 10 condition. And you probably, when you're on the phone with a seller, you're just like, okay, like, how good is this kitchen? Okay. It's above 7, okay, we're going to leave it. Mm-hmm. Or depending on the neighborhood, whatever.
Dude, I like to just ask like 2 questions in a kitchen. It's like, what countertops do you have? What color are the cabinets? What color
do you
are
have
the
stainless steel appliances?
That's
what
it.
type of countertops do you have?
Yeah, because they're all gonna say, "Oh, it's just upgrade." I'm like, "What color are the appliances?" They're white and black. What color are the cabinets? Brown. What countertops? I don't know. They're the old wood ones. Like, you didn't just upgrade this thing.
So eventually, we'll be able to figure out ballpark where the repair estimates are going to be. It's always going to be a range depending on the scope of work. But if we can figure out a ballpark range there, we could probably, again, do that better than most wholesalers algorithmically. Then we know where the offer's got to be.
Yeah.
Then when a lead comes into Investorlift, we could tell you preemptively, hey, at this price point, you only have a 5% chance of selling this deal. But at this price point, you got a 95% chance of selling this deal.
Mm-hmm. And they can punch that in before they lock up a deal. Like, that would be massive for the wholesaling space, right? Because then there'd be way less bad deals. There'd be people were locking up deals that made sense. Even if, obviously it's going to be a lot less deals locked up, but a lot more efficient, a lot more deals getting to the closing table.
100%.
The industry needs that.
Yeah.
But as we were talking about real estate agents too, it's like, man, I feel like that's the first industry that gets wiped out. Like, I can't even understand right now why anybody would hire a realtor to buy or sell a house. I don't even see.
We're going to do the paperwork for you. Dude, ChatGPT's going to do it way better.
Yeah, what's the paperwork is nothing anyway. Yeah. It's. I bought a house out here last year. The last thing I was going to do was hire a realtor.
I think we'll actually advance a lot quicker than the realtor space. You know why? Even though our properties are much more difficult, because NAR is one of the biggest lobbyist groups, and they're gonna fight.
They're gonna hold on to old shit when everybody else passes them up.
Like, look at some of the moves that the big players have been making. Like Zillow, you can't post on Zillow anymore unless it's posted on the MLS.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like they're going to do all sorts of nasty moves to try to keep that party going as long as they can.
And we always talk about there's all these, NAR is coming down and changing all these rules in all these states, and we all I think as wholesalers we're always like, oh, it's because they hate us. It's like, now that I'm having this conversation, they probably just hate the way this is going and know that it's not just wholesalers that are surpassing them with the amount of knowledge and hustle and work we do and money we make and problems we solve, but it's also technology and AI and software that's going to pass them up so fast.
Yeah, the biggest problem with real estate is it's not a liquid asset, right? And that's because there's no efficient market, number one, and number two, there oftentimes needs to be some work done on the property to get back to sellable condition.
Mm-hmm.
But like, let's imagine it's 10 years from now. A good exercise is to ask yourself, what does the world look like 10 years from now? 10 years from now, the Tesla humanoid robots are like mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you familiar with something called the Turing Test?
No.
So the Turing Test was this test that programmers used to always be like, one day in the future, we're going to pass the Turing Test. And the Turing Test is that you could communicate with a machine, and that machine would respond back to you, and there would be no way for the human to tell if they were communicating with a machine or a human. Basically, ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
We just whipped past the Turing Test
Mm-hmm.
in the digital space. The next Turing Test to pass is the Turing Test in the physical world.
Mm.
And I anticipate that we're probably going to pass that in the next 5 years. Now, what does the Turing Test look like in the physical world? Imagine you threw a party at your place. You got all the sales guys over, big rager, there's beer bottles and everything. The place is a disaster. Okay, I take a picture of your living room before the party. I take a picture of it afterwards. The whole place is wrecked. Can I have a robot come in, clean that whole place up, or by the time it's done, I can take a picture and it looks like
exactly
how it was supposed to look?
That's a great way to explain it. Yeah.
That would be a good way of explaining the Turing Test. Like, now, NVIDIA is really working on this, where the problem is like training in the real world. If you're using humans to train, it's very low bandwidth. Like I could, like the way that they've been training is like having humans like move their hands around, do tasks. Like I'm going to fry an egg. It watches you fry an egg, and then, okay, now it knows how to fry an egg. But that's too slow. So with NVIDIA's new AI suites, what they're doing is they're creating virtual worlds where they'll have 1,000 virtual worlds. They'll put the AIs up there, and like they'll just learn how to walk, and they'll learn how to do all these things. So that training is happening right now. The Tesla robots are coming. I have buddies that work in the BMW factory in South Carolina. They're already working on the production line there, building cars. That's a very controlled environment. You're inside of a factory, but they're going to be out in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Very
They're
soon.
going to be doing stuff.
And they're going to work nonstop, not ask for breaks, not need to drink, not need to go to the bathroom. All they need to do is recharge their batteries every once in a while, but they don't sleep.
Right.
Those are here in the next couple of years. So 10 years from now, do you think there's going to be contractors swinging hammers?
There's not going to be contractors. Nobody's going to be washing my truck. No human's going to be cleaning my house. My pool will get cleaned by a robot that isn't going to text me every Friday and bitch at me for not trimming my trees. It's just going to do the work and shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going to get so used to it. And you said like the digital world, right? We blew right past it. And I even noticed where I started treating AI texting bots like they were humans, because we're getting
you even know.
Well, I knew, like, even when you're texting with a bot, like I think we're getting so used to it now, and I'm just a genuinely like kind person. I say thank you knowing I'm chatting with a bot, and I'm like, why am I saying thank you to this thing? I never used to do that.
Did you know that ChatGPT loses hundreds of millions of dollars a year just by people saying thank you at the end of their messages?
Loses 100?
Loses, because that costs money. Every word costs money. It costs them hundreds of millions of dollars in
because
training,
people say
just
thank
for
you.
people saying please and thank you.
Yeah, it's crazy that we're treating bots and AI now like humans, and we're gonna do the same thing.
And you're gonna prefer it. That's the crazy thing. You're gonna prefer it.
Of course you are. I mean, anybody who's ever called customer service for AT&T knows the pain talking to some idiot that doesn't care and passes the buck. Like, if you can call AI and they can actually get answers for you and get something done for you, we're going to fall in love with it.
Yeah. 90% of my customer support tickets are closed out by AI now.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 24/7 answered to 90% of all questions you ask. And as soon as we rolled that out, our customer satisfaction rates, we have software that monitors it every day. Once we rolled it out, customer satisfaction went up.
Of course.
It only rolls over to the human if we haven't trained on that specific, whatever it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in the physical world, it might sound weird right now.
It sounds crazy. People are probably watching this. I can already see the comments rolling in. Oh, Robert's so full of shit. He lost all credibility as soon as he said that. Robots are going to be building houses.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, robots cannot build houses and frame and lay tile. No, they absolutely will. And they'll do it better than any human.
Of course.
The tiles will be perfect every single time, down to the millimeter.
And they'll get shit done quick.
There will be zero code violations. You won't even need inspectors anymore. If you build it with a robot, you already know it's code compliant.
Mm-hmm.
Home inspections. If someone wants, let's say, what does our industry look like in 10 years? Someone wants to sell their house. They press a button, a Tesla rolls out, a robot inspector pops out. It's got sensors. It can see through the walls, see is the insulation falling down, and it's got thermal imaging. It can detect moisture in the walls. It could detect mold. All it's got to do is walk the property once. It's going to know the exact full scope of work of everything that needs to be done on that property. It'll start ordering the materials from Home Depot.
Yep. And Home Depot will not have humans working in it.
No.
It'll be robots grabbing stuff. They'll be putting stuff in motorized robot carts that bring it into a vehicle that's driven automatically. And that's going to bring it to the house. And then a robot's going to take it out and install it.
And the robots will do all the renovation.
Yeah.
Everything.
I don't think that's crazy. I mean, I grew up, I was born in the early 80s. So like as a kid, there was no internet, there was no cell phones. If you told me at 12 years old, one day we're going to have a supercomputer in our pocket that can get on a social media platform where everybody in the world you can talk to, you can do video, you can watch porn, you can look up videos from baseball games from 30 years ago. I mean, like I would have been like, this person is on acid. They're completely out of their mind. Yeah. But like here we are now. I think we forget how fast and how far we've come, dude. Like my grandparents were born in the 20s. And I have a picture with my great grandmother who was born in the 1800s, who like remembers cowboys and Indians running around this country. And it's like, that was only 2 generations ago. Look at how far we've come, and it's just speeding up so fast. And it's just gonna get exponential. So 10 years from now is gonna be completely insane.
It'll be completely nuts. Yeah, I remember like as a kid imagining like I came up with this idea for an invention. I was like, what would be really cool? My grandparents lived one province over in Canada. I'm like, what would be really cool is if on the telephone we had a TV and there was a camera on both sides, and when you pick up the phone, the TV camera would turn on. You could see the person. I was like, this is my idea for an invention. Like now I FaceTime people all day long.
Right.
Full 4K.
Yeah. It's well, for anybody who is questioning it, is just in denial. Yeah. Right? Like it is scary, and it's probably like a fear mechanism of like, a lot of this stuff is intimidating because it's like, where does it stop? We just use the analogy about remodeling a house and doing home inspections. Like that's how this snowballs. Or like I said earlier, it's like you start talking about AI or robots doing one task, and then you start talking about it's like, well, if it can do this, it can do that. It's going to be able to do this. It's going to do this. It's like, what does the economy look like? Is it universal basic income? Is it, I mean, what do we do?
Well, one of the things that is a good positive to it is there's going to be deflation. We've been talking a lot about inflation. Now think about $100,000 rehab with humans.
I just did one. Yeah. At my house.
Brutal, right? Contractors always showing up late.
4
Everything's
months,
over budget.
Yeah, 4 months, 30% over budget. It's a nightmare.
Now,
People calling sick. Now the electrician's not there on Tuesday. The drywall guy's supposed to be there Wednesday, but since the electrician didn't come in Tuesday, everybody comes next week. It's a freaking nightmare.
Yeah. Imagine what that would look like if robots were doing the entire thing.
They would have done my house in less than a month, and it would have cost a third of the price.
They can work 24/7. Think about that.
Yeah.
Instead of one shift, they're doing 3 shifts.
Well, I was living in the house at the time, so I would probably make them stop for 8 hours so I could get some
they got to recharge their batteries
sleep.
too.
Yeah.
You know,
But yeah,
recharge the
dude,
battery
it's a great point. Yeah. Everything's going to get done so fast, so much.
Imagine what that would cost if you had robots doing the whole thing.
It'd be the materials plus the cost of the robot. It would have been probably 30% of what I've spent.
Yeah. I hate doing flips because cash conversion cycle is so long. But like once the robots come,
With
your
that, I don't know
wholesaling
if it's
company-
because you got the beard now and we're talking about AI, but you seem like a fucking mad scientist right now when you say, once
this
the
is the
robots
shit
come.
that keeps me.
It's
They're
like-
already here. They're already here.
Once the
I
robots
just
come.
drove by a Waymo on the way in.
No, I get it. It's just a fucking odd conversation, but I'm so interested.
But that's what you got to think about. Okay, so that's the construction side of things.
Mm-hmm.
That will take a couple years before it's mainstream. Eventually, like the home builders, the construction companies, they'll figure this out. It'll be like wait lists for years to try to get one of these robots because the ROI will be so phenomenal.
Yeah, it'll be insane.
You know, so like as soon as Tesla opens up pre-orders on those things, I'm just ordering an army.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
as
have
many as you can.
like just as many as I can. Deposit this on as many as I can.
Yeah.
Now, sales and marketing are going to get jacked up way faster
Because it's not a physical.
because it's not physical. Because now
robot.
we're in the software space.
Yeah, it's the software that's going to really take over super fast.
Yeah,
Where it's going to be a mass exit of jobs for people.
yeah. Sales is already getting really disrupted. Like if you don't have AI call notes on your sales calls or AI analysis of your sales calls, like where the hell have you been for the last few years?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we have AI analyzing every single sales call, telling us, did you talk too much? Did you not talk enough? Was there objections that came up that you didn't overcome? Are there trends in the data? Like what makes this salesperson outperform this salesperson? And then even on the home buying side of things, like we're running ads where it's like, hey, are you interested in selling your house? If so, there's this AI company where you can call this number, talk to an AI, and get an offer on your house. Because you have to get the opt-in. That's the thing. If you're going to call someone with an AI, you have to get the opt-in, otherwise you're going to get sued.
But I'm glad you brought that up because I just had this conversation with somebody else a couple of weeks ago about AI and the voice calls with AI right now, where I've had a lot of people in the last couple of years want me to like white label one, and they'll come on and they'll do a demo with me, and they always play me the best recording, and I always every time go, let's do it right now live. Yeah. And every time it calls, it's clunky. Every time.
They're all clunky right now.
But I had this conversation a couple weeks ago with Nick Perry, a friend of ours, and he's like, as long as somebody knows. Like, as long as you're not trying to trick them.
Yeah, set the expectation.
Set the expectation. You're talking to AI. Like, now they know they're not trying to get tricked. They're just giving information.
Yeah.
And, like, that's where it's at right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the
Exactly.
texting, it can seem like a human now. Like, it's gotten advanced.
Like, we're just trying to figure out, what does the house look like? Like, what's the address?
Mm-hmm.
What's the bedroom, bath count? What's the general condition? Do they have some motivation and do they have equity? If so, it's going to live call transfer to a human.
Yes.
Because the problem we haven't solved for is like AIs don't know how to close yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They also don't know how to underwrite.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're just working on that, but that's one AI model. That one's built on open source stuff. Okay? It's built on like ChatGPT, like open source large language models. But those large language models don't know how to do math. They don't know how to do analysis. They're not very good at thinking. So you need another AI for that. That's where our Iris AI comes in. Right now, it looks like everything we're doing on Investorlift is for dispo. But remember, circling back to the beginning of this conversation, I was like, hey, we're going to start giving you insights on like what the actual value of these properties are, what the ARVs are, what the repair estimates are. You know why we're doing that?
Why is that?
Because then we can plug Iris AI into the other AI and they can talk to each other. If they have motivation equity, instead of doing a live call transfer, we can just have it reach out in the background in milliseconds, talk to Iris AI, find out where the offer needs to be, fire that back.
And now it can give an offer.
Now it can give an offer.
Yeah.
And then, so imagine if instead of hiring 20 salespeople, you could just buy 20 AI acquisition agents.
Well, let me ask you this. That's an interesting point. So it could just come down to a numbers thing then, right? Where you're like, okay, this is going to give the nuts and bolts. So the type of seller that's going to sell a house to somebody strictly off the numbers is it's gonna get really good at that. But like we had a call today that came in where a lady bought a house for her brother in 2006 or 2008. He died in 2010, committed suicide, and she still owns this house and there's nobody living in it because she's got such an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
So she's probably, and maybe you can argue this point, she's probably not somebody that is going to just say, because we were trying to give her top dollar for it and she still wouldn't sign because she's so emotionally attached to this thing. Mm-hmm. So we actually gave her more than she wanted for it and she still wouldn't sign. So it's like somebody like that is going to probably, that has such an emotional attachment to that house is not the type of avatar that's going to
sell to an AI.
Sell to an AI.
I do agree with that.
But if I, like, she was on the phone with one of our brand new closers, right? But if me or Eric had her on the phone, she would have signed.
Yeah,
but it's
because it's different because you can tell a human story. That's
right.
So that's where there's some protection as a human. The AI can't tell a story about, hey, actually, you know, I know how you feel. My cousin committed suicide a couple of years ago. It was really tough. He was my best friend growing up. So I know exactly the emotions you're going through.
It can't do that.
Can't do it because it doesn't have those stories.
But can it, well, let me ask this then. Can it, on a situation like that, like if she tells AI the story, can AI know how to be empathetic? And even if it can't give a first party story or a third party story, maybe it can just be a psychologist almost.
Yeah, like look at Grok. Grok literally has a therapist mode. You can turn on therapist mode and you're going to have the best world-class therapist in the world trained on all research on therapy.
Yeah, because that's really what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
It would just make her feel comfortable and understand why she has to sell it, why she's holding on to it or something.
Yeah.
It can do that.
Good.
And maybe that's the way it goes. I have no idea.
Yeah, the way that you want to look at things is like there's like this universe of like stuff that a human could do. Let's say it's 100%. Day one, the AI can do 1%. After a while, it gets to 2%, then 3%, then 4%. It takes a while before the AIs can ever get to 100. But in certain tasks now, they're beyond 100. But eventually, they do hit 100.
Yeah, they're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Do you think we're living in a simulation?
Yes.
100% in your mind, you think it's a simulation?
Yes. Which is really powerful because what's interesting is like, you know, as I talk to more and more people, like I had this guy, Nate Shue on the podcast Wednesday, and he's like, I hear this over and over again. Like he did his first real estate deal 14 months ago. Now he's got $1.5 billion of developments.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's just mind-boggling. He's raised hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
He's doing like the building the fashion district right outside of Fashion Square. And I'm like, what's the secret? How do you do that? And he's like, you just manifest it. Anything you can design first in your mind, you can turn into physical reality. If you start to think that, hey, we're in a simulation.
Yeah. I mean, I think we are.
Yeah.
I'm convinced. Because it's like, if that's and it's like, maybe that's the way this goes, right? Maybe this has all been done before and we're just redoing it. Now, maybe we've created internet and AI and all this other stuff before and we're a product of that. And now we've gotten smart enough as the programmed humans that we're now creating it again. I mean, it's so possible. I went and saw Brian Cox speak in Denver about the multiverses, and for like 3 hours he was explaining. I'm like, oh shit, this is all just a math equation.
Yeah.
The universe is a math equation.
Yeah, if you want to really go down the rabbit hole, start looking into like quantum mechanics.
Yeah. Which that just kind of, it's too much for me where I just can't even grasp it.
Yeah.
There is at some point, because I'm very interested in all this, but it's like at some point it's so far over my head. It's like I can't
It's
even.
over my head too, a lot of it.
Yeah, I can't even get it.
But I was listening to an interesting podcast last night. It was with a guy that invented the CPU. And he was explaining how consciousness is literally like quantum. And like when you die, your consciousness doesn't die. It's like a quantum field, and like I'm not going to try to explain it. It just like look up like quantum consciousness on YouTube. There's a rabbit hole you can go down for days, weeks.
It's so interesting, dude. It's like with the simulation stuff too. I had a thought. I'm losing it. There's a glitch in the matrix right now, but you got me all freaked out about the robots coming.
Everyone's going to be better off.
Oh, manifesting. That's what you said. It's so like, I feel that in my life, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember getting out of jail at 24 and I had no money. I had no skills other than swinging a hammer. I grew up in Illinois. I'd never lived anywhere else. And the day I got out, I just picked San Diego on a map and I said, I'm moving to San Diego. I'm going to work hard, be successful. I am a good person. And then I got out to San Diego. I slept on a used mattress in an empty apartment my first night. And I woke up in the morning and I wrote, you're one step away from greatness, like on a piece of paper. And dude, every day since then, my life has been better. And Austin in the office said it the other day because I came walking in the morning and I like opened the fridge. He goes, how you doing, Tony? I go, fantastic, man. Couldn't be better. And he goes, why do you say that every day? And I was like, I didn't even notice I say it every day, but like that's how I want to live my life.
Yeah.
If I say I'm doing fantastic and I couldn't be better, I'm doing great, then I'm going to feel fantastic and be great.
Yeah.
That's a small part of what we were saying about manifestation, right? And if every single day you looked in the mirror and said, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to work really hard today, I'm going to the gym today, versus you looked in the mirror and said, I'm not good enough, I'm going to fail, and everybody hates me, and there's a target on my back, then that if twins did that experiment and they researched twins for 20 years, I guarantee they're going to have a different trajectory in life. Yeah. So manifestation, you can't deny that it's not real. It's real.
The brain is so powerful. There's this one study that I know some university did that was so interesting. They took maids from hotels and they did two groups where they were like giving them research, just asking them to come in and do a survey about like health and fitness. And they took, a large percentage of them wanted to like lose weight. So half of them, they didn't say anything. And then half of them, they said one thing. And they said, oh, did you know that just what you're doing is a maid cleaning is actually a really good workout and it like burns a lot of calories? Like just your job itself is actually kind of like working out. Did you ever think about that? They're like, oh no, I never really thought about that. Then they circled back, and they did like measurements on them on like their weight and everything. And they circled back like a few months later, and just the ones that they told that, hey, your job is actually like working out, it dropped like body fat, had dropped weight, and just telling them like just pattern shifting their mind.
Yeah.
They didn't go to the gym, they didn't do anything different. They just like told them, hey, your job is actually physically active.
But what, do you think that is just mind over matter thing?
Yeah, it's like,
or do you think it's
us sitting here right now? I'm not, no joke. Marita asked me like a week or so before Tony and Shyla came to town.
Eric and Shyla? Or me
sorry.
and Shyla? Because Shyla is my stepwife.
Eric and Shyla.
Yeah.
You weren't there on that trip. I said, oh yeah, they're coming to town. We're going to film a podcast. She's like, oh, that's so great. Like Eric, Shyla, and Tony, they're some of my favorite clients that you guys have. I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to get them to move to Scottsdale. I don't know when, but I think I'm going to get them to move to Scottsdale. Eric sat down on the couch. Within 5 minutes, he was like, let's go. Same thing with Nick Perry. I'm like, I'm going to get Nick to move to Scottsdale. He doesn't know us yet, but I'm going to get him to move to Scottsdale. He lives right down the road now.
Yeah.
You know, but even in the business, like there's certain things that like seemed impossible for us to do. And I'm like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it.
Yeah. I look at that as like, let's stick to the MAID study, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's just the mind controlling the body to lose weight. I think it's you're manifesting it, meaning they're probably doing small changes that are creating that because they're telling themselves this positive message all the time.
Yeah.
Like if you started thinking everything you're doing is a workout, then they're more concentrated on picking stuff up, and they're different. They're bending over differently.
A little bit harder.
They're pushing harder, right? And then instead of grabbing a donut in the morning, they're like, "No, I'm working out all day today. I want to feel healthy. I'm going to eat an egg instead." Like that's the power of positivity, though. Like we see it with cultures and different groups and communities in America where the government and media and everybody tells them that there's a target on their back and there's all this systemic reasons that you're being held down, and they stay down.
Yeah, it's like
and then
racist.
we tell other people
we tell black people that America hates black people. And then you're going to look for it in everything that you see.
Yeah, because that's a great point, right?
Like, I think America is one of the least racist countries in the world.
Well, it is. But, like, so great point, right? And, I mean, I've been called a lot of derogatory terms because I'm kind of a ethnic chameleon.
Yeah.
But I'm mostly white, I would say. But the point being, if, like, I had a shitty neighbor in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
At one of my places. And every day I walked by this guy, I would wave to him. I'd be walking my dog. I'd wave to him, and he would never wave to me. And after like months and months of this guy just looking dead at me and not waving to me, I finally stood there and I was like, dude, what is your problem with me? Why won't you wave to me? And he got up and walked in his house. And if I was black, I would say that dude hates black people. Right?
But maybe that guy.
Maybe
he's deaf.
Maybe he's deaf. Maybe he's
deaf and blind.
Maybe he hates dogs.
Maybe his wife just died and he's just miserable.
He's miserable. I don't know what it is. But to your point, it's like, yeah, if people are telling you constantly something, you're going to be looking for it. It's the same thing like when we start shopping for a car and we go, like my last truck I bought, I'm like, dude, I want a silver, Silverado 2500 HD ZR2. Like that's what I'm in the mood for. Every day I would see one on the street where I never saw one before,
Yeah.
It's like whatever you're focused on is what you're going to see. And we do that with communities in this country to keep them down for votes or control or whatever the fuck we're doing. It's the sickest thing that America does or the media does or the government does. But if you just switched that narrative and told them, hey, this is the least prejudiced country in the world. You have every opportunity.
Yeah.
You have all the support. Look at all these people that are rallying around you and want you to be successful. When you find successful people, befriend them, bring value, and they're going to bring you up. Like, you got this. Let's get up every day. Everybody wants you to win, and let's go. What would happen to those communities?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's Denzel Washington that says this. He's like, you want to get rid of racism in America? Stop talking about racism.
Mm-hmm. I think that was Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, yeah.
Yeah,
great
but
we should splice that in.
Yeah.
But that applies to anything. So it's like, one of the ways that I use this a lot is I'll never, like, I just walked a house in Virginia. My realtor, I just bought a $2 million crazy pad from this guy. It's like almost 10,000 square feet, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, movie theater, not 1 home gym, but 2 home gyms. Like, because why have one if you can have 2? Bar, 2 bars actually. Like, it's a nice place. I'm like, I'm good on my East Coast pad for like the next decade. And he calls me up the other day. He's like, Robert, I got the sick deal. You got to come look at it. And I was like, dude, I just bought a house from you. He's like, no, trust me, come look at this. Do you ever watch the movie The Big Short?
Yes.
This guy built this house in 2009. He was on the team that did The Big Short.
Got it.
Yeah. So this thing's 16,000 square feet, 12-car garage on a private lake that you own, that he stocked the whole lake with trout.
Built on subprime mortgages.
Built on subprime mortgages. And he's like, yeah, he's willing to do seller finance. And I'm like, I can't afford that right now.
Yeah, I
just bought one. But I still walked it because this slight mental tweak that I do has been really profound. I never say I can't afford something. Because as soon as you say you can't afford something, your brain stops working on it. Instead, what you got to say, if it's something you want, don't say you can't afford it because your brain shuts down. You say, how can I afford this?
How can I get this? Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
you start solving
your brain
problems.
starts solving problems at a higher level.
Yeah. That's a great point. It happens, and that's a great analogy or a great situation, but dude, it happens every day in the wholesale business too. Complicated transaction. You can't get a seller across the finish line. You start feeling defeated and saying that, then you stop solving the problem.
Yeah.
It would happen at our office in North Carolina a lot, where our TC that we had would shut down when she couldn't get past something on a complicated transaction. And I didn't know shit about transactions or title work or anything. But my attitude was always like, no, we will figure this out.
No matter what.
No matter what. I will not let this deal die. Because I know how hard I worked to dispo it and how hard Eric and the team worked to lock it up. She's just doing a transaction, so she was giving up on it easier than I was willing to, because I had more skin in the game. And I would be like, absolutely not. Let me solve this problem. What is the problem? I'll figure out how to solve it. And because of that, we got a lot of deals across the table that she was ready to give up on. But you're absolutely right. When you start saying, I can't do this, why would you keep working on it?
Now, we're started this conversation talking about AI. What AI is not good at is doing that, creating the vision.
They're not the visionary, they're the implementer.
They're the implementer. So if you want to really set yourself up for success in the new AI era that we're already living in, what I would be doing is really trying to dial in my mindset, dial in my mental models, dial in my creativity to become that person that can create a vision for something that doesn't exist today, and then leverage the AI tools to allow you to go execute on visions that previously were impossible to execute on. AI is making it easier than ever now for anyone to start a business, right? Let's say I want to start an e-commerce store. I can go find a similar product, have AI clone the website, spin it up, write the best copy, create AI images of the product with people wearing it.
Yeah, it's the easiest time in the world.
It's the easiest time in the world to create a business.
To do anything.
To do anything.
We sit in air conditioning. Every poor person in this country has a smartphone and a flat screen TV.
Yeah.
And that maybe is the problem. It's gotten so easy. Everything is so easy that we create all these fucking problems for ourselves, right?
It's true.
It's like a dog that's fucking chained up is gonna chew his leg off eventually. You gotta have obstacles and challenges to do, and we see it where, look at all the billionaires and all the super successful people. They've all turned into fucking gym junkies and trying to fucking live forever and inhabitate Mars. And they're hey, life is too easy. I'm going to train like a savage. I'm going to figure out how I can live forever. I'm going to create rockets to go to another planet and inhabitate that. It's
right.
You got to keep going, right? It's that's why the UFC is so big. It's world's super easy. We need this savagery. It's in our blood.
Yeah.
Without it, we're going to self-destruct.
Yeah, if you ever take someone, you just take them out of work for a bit, what happens?
Oh, they're miserable.
They're miserable. Have you ever seen a depressed person that works 80 hours a week?
No. I say, to your point, I say, people that say they have a lot of depression and anxiety, I'm you can't have a panic attack when you're running from a bear.
Yeah.
You're just in the moment, right? All the anxiety and depression comes from, the unknown or all this unused energy in your body, right? And it's like, if as long as you're focused on something and you have a purpose, like it tricks your mind and it knocks out that negative shit.
The way I look at it is depression is from living spending too much time living in the past, reminiscing about the past. Anxiety comes from thinking too much about the future, but not taking actions towards accomplishing whatever future state you're trying to accomplish.
It's the procrastination and putting shit on the back burner that creates all the anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, and everybody can relate to this.
Not taking action.
Not taking action, like the regret or just feeling like shit, knowing you have something to do and you don't do it.
Yeah.
And then it's all in here and it's not done. You know what I mean? Like
It's not real.
It's not real. Like when when somebody, when I schedule something or I tell somebody I'm going to call them back or anything I have to do in the future because we're so busy as entrepreneurs, it's like I put that shit in my phone instantly because I know in 3 minutes I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah.
But I will remember, I'm supposed to remember something and that'll create anxiety.
Exactly.
So it's like, just get the shit down and structure your day and schedule and automate shit to get rid of all that.
And live in the present. Live in the present. It's okay to think 5% about the past because you learn lessons from the past. It's okay to spend 5% thinking about the future because the world's changing really fast. But like 90% of your day, you just got to live in the present. If you live in the present, you're going to crush it. You're going to be a happy person. You're going to enjoy every day.
Yeah, most people don't even realize what they have because they're not living in the present. It's like, I'm not like super religious or anything. And it's like when people talk about heaven and life after death, I never think about it really. But my initial thought when somebody starts talking about that is like, man, I don't think about that because like, what could be better than this?
Yeah.
Like, look at the views and the people we get to interact with and all the colors and like the beauty of life. It's like, this is heaven. It doesn't get any better than this to me because this is where I'm living right now.
Yeah. And it's not always like that. There's been points
of course. But that makes the good times better.
Exactly. You got to have the lows to appreciate the highs. If you only had highs.
Yeah, if everything was perfect all the time, it would suck. We'd hate it.
That's what I'm most worried about with AI. Is because it's going to bring so much prosperity. Like your $100,000 renovation is not going to be a $30,000 renovation.
Right.
The cost of everything is going to fall so much and get so much cheaper. But also just the amount of stuff that we need people to work on is just going to drop. I think I'm a super libertarian, so like handouts just like make me cringe.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how are people going to survive if there's just like nothing for people to work on? Like if the AI and the robots and all of this just is automated, like we'll all live prosperous lives. But then like, where do people get their purpose?
Yeah.
Where do people find struggle? And I know that people will figure it out. That's my hypothesis, is people will figure it out. Maybe they'll do art. Maybe they'll do poetry. Maybe we'll just start working on like higher level things. And
maybe they'll start working on their communities,
Yeah.
That'd be the most beautiful thing. But yeah, that's a great point and a worry is like, what do we do with the idle time,
Because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have a lot of it. And that's a worry, especially if you look at like how many prescription drugs Americans take.
Sure. Yeah. Well, dude, people are going to be living in a virtual world. Like if they got nothing to do, they'll be putting on the goggles and melting into their couch. A percentage of them.
That unfortunately, I think that's going to be a very large percentage of people.
And it's probably a lot of the same people that we lock up under contract on wholesale deals. They're going to be from the South.
They're going to be sitting there with their VR headset on all day.
Yeah, they're going to sell
traveling the world, living their best life virtually.
They're going to sell us their house over the phone, and then they're going to put goggles on and melt into their couch. That's what's going to happen.
Ugh.
I think that's a beautiful note to go out on, Robert. What do you think?
This has been fun.
Dude, it was a great conversation. Like as you were coming in, I'm like, we've done a lot of content together. We just did a podcast, 11 out of 10 podcast. I'm like, what can we talk about that I'm interested in, that I know Robert fucking loves and knows a lot about? And I'm glad we went on this journey of AI, and just the robots are here. The robots are coming. And
They're coming. The robots are coming. Get ready.
The robots.
Think about what the world looks like 10 years from now. Get ready for it now. If you don't get ready for it, it's going to be too late.
Yeah. We'll call this episode The Robots Are Coming.
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
Thumbnail, I can see it right now. The robots are here.
Yeah. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate you. And for Mr. Robert Wensley and Tony Mont, we'll see you at the top.